Hello, this video is about the Project Planner Advanced Excel template. This is the second version of this template. The first version has been one of the most successful products from Indzara.com, and I'm really excited to present the second version. I've taken into account the feedback from a lot of customers who purchased the first version, and I've added the features that have been requested to the second version. In this video, I will provide an overview of the features available in the second version and also give a quick walkthrough of the template itself. This template is helpful for project planners who are working on multiple projects at the same time and they want to plan them. Specifically, you can easily determine if and when your projects will complete in the future. You can estimate the cost of each of your projects. In addition, you can prepare the task schedules, resource schedules, and the project schedules automatically. It is always useful to understand resource utilization in your projects, which will lead to identifying opportunities to improve your project management, whether it is increasing your resource utilization and also could be improving the completion status of your projects. Some of the highlights of this template are it will help you to automatically schedule tasks. Provided the very simple basic inputs, the template will take care of scheduling your tasks day by day for all your tasks, for all your resources. Even though there is automatic scheduling, template also provides a lot of options where you can control how the scheduling is done. It also allows a lot of common scenarios to be accommodated where your resource availability is constrained. For example, your resource may not be available during weekends, there may be company holidays. All of this can be input in this template and it'll really address most common scenarios in real life. It will help you with improved project management because it gives you a lot of visual cues to identify where it could be improved, where there is a gap in your task completion or the project completion. So it'll really help you to improve the project management itself. And finally, the Gantt charts and summary reports are all readily available. They're automatically done, so it saves you a lot of time from creating all those manually. Now, before we continue further with this, let us take a quick look at the template itself. Now I have opened the Excel template version 2 with some sample data. So we have totally 7 sheets that are visible, and the first one is the settings sheet. And in the settings sheet, the first thing we will enter is the planning period, start and end dates. The maximum allowed is 366-day period, and you can enter any planning start date and end date. We have entered here 3 resources. You can enter up to 30 resources, and you would enter resource ID, the name of the resource, and then you can provide information on when those resources would be available on a regular basis, and then the rate at which those resources need to be paid. You can customize what your company weekends are. So whatever dates you chose as company weekends, those days will not be used for scheduling tasks. Company holidays can be input here, and those days will not be used for scheduling tasks. In addition, you can customize for each resource. If they're going to take some days off or some hours off, then you can provide the name of the resource, the date when they're going to take the leave, and then how many hours will they be taking off. And this will be taken into account while the template is planning your schedule. That's it. Enter your settings and we move on to the project sheet, where in the project sheet there are a few required fields. So this is your list of projects. I've entered 3 projects here. Project ID, project name, and project priority are required. And then there are some optional fields. As you enter the project, you will immediately see the project plan status, which will say planned if your project does not have any errors. But if it has any errors, the error will show up here. Then we move on to the tasks sheet, where these are the required fields: task ID, associate a project with your task, what is the name of your task, and assign a resource to each task, and then provide how long will each task take to complete. This is the most crucial part of this input. Once you provide this information, immediately the template will provide you a task plan result, which will tell you, will this task complete or not complete? And also when it completes, it'll tell you whether it'll complete on time or late. So this is how automated this template is. You provide basic inputs and it'll tell you what will happen to the task. And then in addition to this, there are some optional fields which we will cover later, but basic required inputs are these. Now, once we have entered this information, you have completed data entry. That's it. It wouldn't take you more than just a few minutes to enter your projects, enter your tasks, and then you're done. Now, let's look at what the template will provide. Here's the plan summary sheet. This will tell you there are 3 projects, 3 of them, all of them are planned, and 2 of them will complete, and none of them will complete on time. And the total cost for all these 3 projects together is this, and your planning period is this. And it'll list you for each project important statistics or attributes around when the project can begin, when the project will begin, and when the project will end, number of hours that have been scheduled, and if they have not been scheduled, then how many hours have not been scheduled. For example, the third project, which is highlighted here, is not going to complete. So it means will not complete. The first 2 projects will complete late, but they will complete within the planning period. It'll also tell you what the cost is for each project. So this is at the project level. You will also see a timeline view where you will see them in different colors, if it'll complete on time, will complete late, or will not complete. And for example, will complete on time is not shown here because both these projects are going to finish after your preferred end date. You can see this line here, the blue thin line, that indicates when your preferred end date for these projects are. So let's go to project 1, for example. We have provided that the preferred end date is 18th September. So for example, if I move this around to October 31st, and let's go back here. Now the template tells me immediately that this will complete on time, because you can see also here the project 1 is expected to end 22nd September, and our preferred end date we just now typed in was 31st October. So now it tells me that it's green, will complete on time. So that's how fully automated this template is. It'll take into your input in and then provide results instantly. Finally, there is resource information. For each resource, it'll tell you the number of hours scheduled, available, utilization rate. Clearly, you can see that the project manager is heavily utilized, but then the web designer and the developer are not. And it'll tell you how many days they are scheduled for, how many days they are not scheduled, and number of tasks that they're taking on, and how much each of them will be costing. So all of this, again, there's no input here, no data entry necessary here. It's all fully done automatically. Then we go into the task schedule. So you get more fully automated Gantt charts here. And in addition to the Gantt charts, you can also customize this view a lot. By default, you will see all the tasks. So we have about 13 tasks and all of them are shown here. And you can see within each task, it'll tell you whether the task will complete on time, will complete late, or will not complete. And you can see them colored differently so you can easily identify them. In addition to that, there is the summary here around tasks, and as we scroll to the right, you will see the Gantt charts fully built automatically for you, and you can even customize it by looking at it. Instead of daily, you may want to look at it weekly, and you may want to look at it monthly, for example. So all of this is done for you. You can even customize where you want the Gantt charts to start from by typing in your own date, and then the Gantt chart will begin from that date. So fully customizable. And on top of that, you can choose if you want to see the schedule for only one task, you can choose that. And in this case, we need to choose there is nothing showing up here, and that's because we need to choose a project name. And so let me choose project one, and now it'll give me all of the things I need to know about that one project. It'll tell me that the project will complete on time. It'll give me all the necessary dates. It'll give me each task within that project, and it'll tell me all the important information about each task. Will the task complete on time or not? And then it'll give me the detailed Gantt chart for that specific project. And instead of project, you can choose also resources. So immediately as I choose resource, everything blanks out because we need to select the proper resource name. And let me choose project manager. There you go. So again, summary statistics at the top, then you have all the tasks for that resource, and you can see the Gantt chart. So the Gantt chart has also some extra layer of information. The green color indicates where the work is scheduled. The light green indicates the company weekends. The light orange indicates company holidays. And then the the light, the dark gray indicates where the resource was not available. So that means the project could have moved on, could have continued, but the task could have continued, but the resource was not available on that day, and hence it's shown as dark gray. So that is an opportunity. If the resource was available, the project could have continued. And finally, the milestone completion is if we have highlighted any task as milestones, then you can see them shown in the Gantt chart. So let me go and do that quickly. So we can go and choose, let's say, this specific task as a milestone. So you can just go in and choose S. And now let's come back and see if that specific task is showing up as a milestone. There you go. The milestones are shown in dark blue with white font, and this is a milestone, and the milestones are also highlighted here with bold font. And essentially what this is if you have a lot of tasks in your project and some of them are key milestones of your project, it's very easy. You just have to select yes in this milestone column, and then in the Gantt chart and in the schedule here, it'll clearly highlight it for you. So very customizable, easy to use, and easy to interpret task schedules. We also have a resource view, and this is basically all your resources. It'll give you every day how many hours they were available. This is hours available. As you scroll down, you will see hours scheduled, and this is the number of hours each resource is scheduled every day. So this is also automatically done for you. And finally, a lot of useful information about this template is available in the help sheet, where each and every term is explained and calculations are explained, so that if you have any questions, you can look it up. And now that we have gone through the quick walkthrough of the template itself, let me talk about some of the advanced features in this template. Even though there is automatic scheduling of tasks, you have a lot of control over the schedule. And for example, let's go to the project sheet. You can prioritize the projects. So the projects of higher priority, in this case, one is higher than two. So project one is the highest priority. So tasks will be scheduled first for this project. When there is a conflict of priorities, obviously project one wins because it's higher priority number one, and then priority number two, priority number three. So you can control based on priorities. That priorities can be assigned even at the task level. There is a task priority which you can set for all the projects within a specific project. You can prioritize it by typing in the numbers here. Once again, lower number means higher priority. So that will be used by the template when it schedules the tasks. In addition to prioritization, there is also task preferred start date and project preferred start date. So these dates are provided so that you can control if you don't want a specific project like project 2, you don't want it to start until 2nd September, project 3, you don't want to start until 15 September, then you can type this in and the automatic scheduling will take that as input. And this can be done in the task level also, where at the task level you can type in a task preferred start date. So for example, if I don't want this project or task to start on September 1st, so what I can do is to type in September 5th, and now we can go and look at the project one, task 1, you will now see that it actually does not begin until 9th, and that's because we provided September 5th as the preferred start date, and as you see here, preferred start date is 5th September, and in reality it will only start on the 9th, and that's because we have 5th and 6th are Saturday Sundays, and 7th is a company holiday, and 8th, this resource that you've assigned the project manager is not available on that day, and so the task can only begin on the 9th. So the template automatically figured all this out because you just provided the preferred start date and it just instantly figures that out. So for example, let me go back and take that out. So now you're saying I don't have any preferred start date. It can start as soon as possible. So then if I go into task schedule, now the task actually will begin on September 2nd. And so that is how easy, automated, instant your control of the task is and how the schedules are built. So now in addition to the preferred dates and the priority, there's also more control. So for example, in the task table, you can create dependencies between tasks. So what I mean by dependencies is this task providing the requirements to the developer has to be completed before the developer can develop the site. So task ID 2 depends on task 1. So the way I've done this, all I have to do is to type in 1 here, and now the task ID 2 will not begin until task ID 1 is done. So we can see that in our task schedule. So task 1 completes on September 2nd for 5 hours. That's the number of hours it needs. Task 2 will only begin on September 3rd because September 2nd the first task will be complete. Only then the next task can begin. So that is how the dependencies can be created very easily, and all you have to do is to type in. You can have two different tasks as predecessors, and so in, for example, this task, approve the site with graphics, the project manager needs both the developer work and also the designer work to be complete. So task ID 2 and 4 both should be complete. You can see that the task ID 2 is the developer completing the site, and then task 4 is the site graphics to be designed by the designer. Both of them have to be complete. Only then approving the site task can be started. So this is how dependencies can be created very easily. And one more thing around control is if you have the same resource, for example, let's just filter on developer. So now we can see all the developer tasks. And within the developer tasks, if you want to say, I want the developer to only dedicate 50% of the time on any given day to this task, then I can just type in 50%, and this means that this resource will actually work only 50% of the time on this, and for the remainder of the time it'll work on other projects, other tasks as applicable. So I can go now to the task schedule. Now you will see that everything is allocated differently, and that's because we told that the maximum that the developer can work on this project is only 50%. So instead of working all the 5 hours on this task, now this developer works only 2.5 hours every day. So the time that now the developer has can be used to work on other projects. For example, the developer can begin working on some of these other projects. You can see here that on September 21st, he's working on 2.5 hours on the first project, 2.5 hours on the second project. So the resource can now work on parallel projects and tasks because you can control maximum percentage time that the resource should dedicate to that specific task. And you can type in more percentages here, and the template will be able to accommodate and figure it out and then use it for scheduling the tasks automatically. Let's talk a little bit about the limitations of this template. So up to 30 resources can be included in planning, as we talked about before, and the maximum planning period is 1 year. By default, there can be 250 tasks and 50 projects, but it's very easy to extend it. the task can have up to only two predecessors, and the dependent task will only begin the day after its predecessors end. So that is the set of limitations that we have in this Excel template. Now let's do a quick recap. It makes lives easier for project planners. It's so easy to use that you can start planning your projects in just a few minutes. It'll save time on a daily basis because you don't have to manually schedule all your tasks, because the template will automatically do it for you. And ready-made printable schedules, project plan summary, resource utilization rates, all of this is readily done for you, fully automated. And it's also very flexible and practical. So it takes into account all the common scenarios, whether it is dependent or predecessor tasks, whether it is prioritizing projects, whether it's assigning a maximum limit to how much time a resource can spend on a task, or whether it is providing limitations on resource availability, whether it's setting company holidays and weekends. All of this is so customizable that you can actually make it work in most common scenarios in business. And finally, all of this is within Microsoft Excel. There is no programming, there is no security concern, there's no VBA code or macros. It's all done using simple formulas and conditional formatting. And this template was built in Excel 2013, but it's been tested in 2007, 2010, and 2013 for Windows. And for Mac, it is the Excel for Mac 2011. And this template is available from Indzara.com. If there are any questions, please leave me a comment, or please email me at indzara@gmail.com, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you very much for watching the video.